Go on. Right there. Hello and welcome back to the Red and White Review. Unfortunately today we have no opposition fan, as you noticed. Jay Whittle is unfortunately not able to join us, but hopefully he'll be back on the show for the Red and White Preview and the Red and White Review when we play them later in the season. Also, unfortunately, today Tom White was unavailable to join us. So I would like to say we've gone with the next best thing, but we've really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel. We've had to settle for Matthew Lead. Matthew, how are you?
Unfortunately, you've got me.
Exactly.
I'm good today. I wasn't last night, but I'm all right now. I'm okay.
So what's boosted your mood from last night?
Well, I went and played football last night. To get myself over some football, and man, had such a nice game, and speaking to you a lot, really makes my day.
Lee Johnson on the phone saying we're going to do with someone up front. He was making comments about January transfer
exactly.
window.
I was on a trial with him after the game, so
yeah, we'll definitely get into that. To start us off, of course, no one's really happy with the result. 1-1, 1-0, a 1-0 loss against the worst team in the league. I'm just getting used to saying 1-1 in these videos now. Do you think it was a fair reflection of the game?
Man. Well, I think it was. Yeah, I don't think we sort of deserved to get anything out of that game. I think the players, you think you get a new manager, and the players would sort of step up their game and show something. They go, right, give me the ball and I'm going to do something.
I think the intent was there. I think the effort was there, though.
Yeah, I think the first 10 minutes was good, and what?
Scraping the bottom of the barrel now for positives. Well, the first 10 minutes was good.
First 10 minutes? I mean, to be fair, I thought we moved the ball quite well, to be honest. And I think mcgee got put through by Ledbetter. That was a great run. And just to say, right, mcgee's back, and you can just tell when he gets the ball, right? Obviously, it's his first time he's played for us in over a year now, and he gets the ball, and he just knows what he's doing. He beats a defender. I don't see any other player beat anyone, and he did that brilliant run in. It's just intelligence.
He surprised me at how he seemed to fit in with the game, and how he didn't look as if he was struggling with the intensity of the game, despite the fact he hasn't played a game since March.
Yeah,
for Charlton, and even still, then I don't think he was playing week in week out for Charlton. Aidan mcgee really surprised me yesterday. I was expecting him to at least, maybe not quite be as quick as we thought he could be, or not but he played it an hour, and I would argue he was one of our better players. We've lacked him all season. Someone who can beat someone who can do something on their own.
Yeah, I agree with you, because he seemed like he was part of the team as well. And I know previously when mcgee's played, it's sort of just been like mcgee FC. Everyone passes to mcgee and hopes he does something. But he actually seemed part of the game, like part of the team, just as much as anyone else. And that's great to see. And it just shows that what was Phil Parkinson leaving him out? What was that all about? And he was literally there to come straight. And Lee Johnson, as soon as the board knew that he was going to be appointed, the club on Twitter, the day before the game, they were like, mcgee, back. He's back. Because Lee Johnson...
I was so buzzing when I saw that video. Honestly, I was so pumped up.
It was amazing, because he must have gone, right, what's mcgee doing over there? He's the best player in the league. Get him straight back in. What are we doing? He's got 1 year left. You might as well, come back into the team. But yeah, no. So he did all right, the best he could do, given that he hasn't played obviously a game since March. But I think there was a lot more forward passing, which I liked.
It's opposed to sideways, definitely. That's something I wanted to mention, was like how different we look as a team now.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Although, yeah, we did lose 1-0. I could see signs there that we were playing slightly more different than we did with Parkinson. There was not really much sideways and backwards passing. All of it was forward and positive play. But I think what failed us in the game was sort of maybe crosses into the box.
We didn't have a target one in the box, but we kept going out wide.
Yeah. Pace in the midfield. To be fair, right, McFadzean second half put a brilliant cross in, and Danny Graham, where was he? You've got to rely on your strikers being in the right.
Oh, he came on.
Yeah, the right place at the right time. Strikers can only get one chance a game, and you have to rely on them to score it. And when you get a ball like that, and you're just not there to meet it and put it in the net, then what do you expect? So I think there was players. I think McLaughlin played well, McGee played well, but
really,
yeah. I think McLaughlin was quite solid. To be fair, I thought he was very solid. He made a lot of forward runs, took the ball forward well. He's very comfortable on the ball. I quite like. He's solid. I wouldn't say he's something special, but he's solid, and I don't think he makes too many mistakes.
I mean, you mentioned Conor McLaughlin there, and I think he's solid defensively. And I actually asked a question to Tom. I think it was Tom I asked to do. I had someone on it, and I asked him about Conor McLaughlin because I think so far this season he hasn't got the credit he's deserved. I think he's been a far better player than he was last season, especially defensively when he's played as the right centre back in the back three. I think he's been solid. Even when he played in the middle centre back, I don't think he's cut out for the right wing back. But yesterday he made a lot of runs going forward, but to me he seemed to slow the game down. And it was really frustrating when we were going forward, and for the first time in a while, which is something I want to speak about, we seem to be going forward and being a bit more positive and having a bit more intent to create. But every time Conor McLaughlin got the ball, to me, he just slowed the game right down. And that's not any disrespect to Conor McLaughlin, because I just don't think his game is bowing forward up the right. I think he's more of a defender. He'll defend, he'll clear the ball, and he can maybe pass it on to someone else. But I think going forward, he maybe hasn't got the creativity or the pace or the intensity to really create much. So to me, I wasn't too pleased with Conor McLaughlin yesterday. I thought he slowed the game down going forward. I would have preferred Deon Sanderson.
Yeah, that was just, I think McLaughlin playing that role, obviously, as you say, right wing back is probably not the role that he's best suited to. He's better maybe right-sided centre back. But if he was put in that role yesterday, I think he did the best he could possibly do. To be honest.
I think he did the best he could. I think he did the best he could possibly do. I just don't think that the best he could possibly do is actually good enough.
I've got a lot of injuries, isn't it? So.
Yeah, but would you have not rather to see Deon Sanderson come in? I mean, he, every time he's played to me, he's looked really comfortable on the ball. He seems to have a bit of pace about him.
I mean, absolutely. I'd love to see him get a role, a starting role.
Yeah, to me, it's frustrating with Deon Sanderson because the longer that we'll keep either benching him or leaving him entirely out of the match day squad, the more are just going to record him in January. Because if he's not even playing for us, then they're not good. Like that's the only thing in it for them, is that he's going to get experience for us. And we need to honour that, because he's such a quality player that, from what I've seen, I don't think we're going to afford for that to happen, because to me, he looks as if he can really offer us something. I mean, look, when Iron's out, however long it is, but it's about 3 months or something like that now. To me, although he probably doesn't look as good, if you're looking at someone who's got a bit of energy out of right back, who can both defend and go forward, although 09 maybe isn't the best defensively, I think Deon Sanderson's definitely the option there. Yesterday, obviously we changed it to 4 at the back, and would you say that you even saw a difference yesterday from Tuesday night and so far this season, where when we were going forward, we actually went forward, we didn't constantly look out wide, and we went forward with a bit more intent and a bit more urgency. I thought in the Parkinson bit, one of the criticisms I had I know I was, Parkinson for a little while, but I could still see how slow we were going forward. Even Max Power, a player who I slate all the time yesterday, it was a point in the game where I actually pointed to the telly and he would have not done that under Parkinson, and he got the ball and he just ran at the play. He took the pass and passed it off to someone else. To me, there seemed to be a difference already there.
If you watch, you've seen Lee Johnson's match interview, he was saying that the message at half time, he just said, we got to take the ball and just go forward. We got to be, he kept using the word bold, just got to be bold. And he obviously wanted us to do that, and we were doing it. But I don't think it was quite working, because what he said was when the players got in the box, he said there weren't enough players in the box. When you're playing a 4-3-3, which we did, you should be able to get 5 or 6 players in that box at once. And I don't think we're not used to playing forward enough for the players to even realise that.
It's going to take time to adapt.
They could take the ball forward all day long, but if they're not in the box ready to score, or it's not going to work. So obviously it takes time. It's Lee Johnson's. I mean, he was like 6 hours into his job, and he gave him that small instruction of going forward. He flat back forward, more attacking, and we like that straight away. Yes, we did lose the game, but Big Sam lost his first game in charge. 1-0.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can really judge Lee Johnson on yesterday, because although, I mean, whether or not it was actually Saturday morning or Friday night, my personal theory is that it was Friday night that he actually put pen to paper and officially became the manager. They just waited until Saturday to announce it, I thought. either way, he's almost certainly hasn't trained with the players for 1 second. He's probably at most had maybe 2 meetings with them. I wouldn't have blamed him, mate, if he'd sat in the stands and said to Taylor, "Can you take charge for one more game?" But because how can he be expected to pick the start 11? But in all fairness, we literally picked a start 11, and we actually, to me, seemed were we better than we've been so far this season? Probably not, but there were certain things that I noticed we were doing that we'd never done. Going forward with pace was one. Not constantly going out wide was another. Forward passes from the centre midfielders. I thought the centre midfielders were brilliant yesterday, especially in the first half. I thought we were the boss of the game. I didn't think Scowen had a poor game. One thing that really is annoying me is the corners. Scowen taking them. Did you pick up on that as well? I was texting me.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We've got Grant Ledbetter and Chris Maguire on the pitch. 2 brilliant crosses of the ball from dead ball situations. We know that. And yet we're putting Josh Scowen on corners, and we know he can't take them very well.
And I was literally saying to my dad, like, on his maybe 3rd or 4th corner, I said, this corner isn't going to beat the first man. I said, this is what's going to happen. He's going to
every single time.
When it comes to the first man, he's just going to head it away. And what happened? That exactly happened, And it kept on happening. So a corner is a better opportunity than people think it is. You've got a chance to get that ball into the box with all these players there. It could go anywhere, for a goal. And to not even be able to beat the first man is such a, it's such a wasted opportunity. So why someone else isn't taking a corner, I do not know. Grant Ledbetter, he needs to go back on the corners really, because he's just standing on the edge of the box.
He puts them in a perfect area. Like if you put a corner in the right area, anything can happen. All you need is a half decent connection, and there's a good chance for going in.
As soon as Ledbetter corners when under Jack Ross, we scored about 5-6 corners.
Yeah.
In the space of, like, I don't know, maybe 8 games or something like that. Like, it was
nearly every game we're getting a goal from a corner.
Like Oxford, Gillingham, some other teams, but like, I just remember those. And
Portsmouth towards the end of the season. Wimbledon, I think.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. Fleetwood away as well. Actually, I think Lewis Morgan took that corner, but anyway. But yeah, no. So I don't understand why Scowen's still in the corners. It's really infuriating. But apart from that, I don't know. He's a bit of a funny player because sometimes he can do some good things, but then I don't know. He's not. I don't think he's anything better than a League One player, to be fair.
It surprises me because when you look at his accolade when he came in, he played in League One, he got promoted with League One, and he won the Checkatrade Trophy with Barnsley, I think that was. He then went to QPR, played the Championship for a couple of years. Actually looked as if he did all right. He came to us and I was thinking, we've got a League One winner and Championship quality player here. But I said all the way through last season, we need to give us that a chance, we need to give us that a chance, we need to give us that a chance. He's been given a really great chance this season with the amount of starts he's had, but to me, he hasn't seen it offer us much. And the only reason for me why I've kept saying play him is because of how poor the rest of the centre midfielders are. But yesterday, I saw a marked improvement in Mac Power yesterday. And when I was on the preview show, Jay said that Max Power was class for Wigan. Tom White says he really rates him. So maybe with Max Power, and when I think about it, when he first joined us, he was really good. Maybe it's just a case of you need to get the most out of him, and if Lee Johnson can do that, I don't see any way how Scowen gets his name in the team sheet every week.
Yeah, I think on going on Power, I think he's just sort of changed as a player at Sunderland, because I was watching his highlights for Wigan, and he scored so many goals, and what you notice is all of these goals are screamers, every single one.
Oh, he doesn't score tap-ins.
And when Power is playing for us, what do we usually see? Backwards passes, sideways passes. But when he arrived and he was scoring goals, and even for Wigan, scoring goals and just going. And he even said on the Unfiltered podcast that all he wants to do is just go forward, and Parkinson was holding him back from doing that. So it's frustrating, but hopefully under Johnson, maybe we might see a completely different Max Power again. After a bit of time, we might see that again.
I think the key with Max Power is to not restrain him. I think if you give him free roam, you'll get the best out of him. But with the way we're playing under Parkinson, playing 3 at the back, and then with the wing backs who used to get so far forward, you then even get Willis and Flanagan or whoever the wide centre backs were getting. I mean, God, sometimes Willis got the touchline. Them going forward and joining the attack. I think what he wanted out of his centre midfielders was to hold back and cover for the wing backs. provide a few extra bodies defensively, and wait for when we're going forward and we're trying to create something, but it doesn't happen to be there to redistribute the ball out wide. And to me, that was the only role of the centre mids under Phil Parkinson going forward, at least, like in terms of an attacking sense, was just hold back while we're on the attack, and when you get the ball, redistribute it, and that's it. That's your job. Whereas I think you get the best out of Max Power. For me, towards the end of the first season in League One, when he started playing in the midfield with Catamol and Ledbetter just behind him, you get the best out of him when you don't restrain him and you give him a free role. So maybe it will be that actually he wasn't as bad as I was making out. It was just that the system he was under was restraining him, and if you don't restrain him and you let him have free roam, which maybe under a four-at-the-back system where you got a bit more security at the back, you can then maybe drop Ledbetter just behind him where that's his best role. Maybe you can then say to him, mate, you got more or less free roam, go and do as you please. And it might be that you see him popping up in and around the box, which is when he's dangerous for his shots. And he's got a decent cross on him. He set Willgreg up loads in their first season.
I mean, why is he not taking the corners as well? You know,
I remember he's another one above Scowano, I would say.
When he first came to the club, he was taking the corners, and I remember drilling him away. He took the corner, and Maguire scored a header. Like, you know, it's just like, what? Why are these players not doing their best role? You know, and it makes no sense. We're bringing these players in to play the roles that they're not used to, and that was something that's just really infuriated me over the past few seasons as well. But yeah, no, what you were saying with Max Power going a bit more forward, and Ledbetter, I think yesterday was sitting deeper, just in front of the back four.
I think that's where he works best as a quarterback.
Yeah, to just give that Power the license to just not worry about what's happening behind him too much, you know, because a lot of times you just see Power sort of going, right, what's going on here, you know?
But was that? I think, to be honest, what I was trying to say was, I think that was Parkinson's tactics coming through to him, where Parkinson wanted Max Power to just redistribute the ball out wide and behind him, as opposed to going forward and creating in. Because I genuinely do think, looking back, when you look at how he's played yesterday, and even how he played against Burton, he seemed to, for the first time in over a year, I saw Max Power take a player on and make a forward pass. So I genuinely think we're right here in saying that maybe he's got a bit more freedom and he's not entirely restrained.
Yeah, exactly. I think he played a lot better passes out wide. He was, you know, he always tries to fizz those balls across the pitch, and sometimes they don't really work. But he was doing it yesterday, and a lot of them came off. You know, so fair play to him. I think he's playing now with a bit more confidence, and I think he's a bit happier now. We've got a new manager, and I think he can try and prove a little bit more. And you know, I think Power's a good character to have in the dressing room as well. I think him and Charlie White sort of lead the banter, and I think he's got to be one of the players in that dressing room boosting everyone's morale. You know, so he's an important player.
Experience as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's an important player to have, and we can't just, you know, he's not an undroppable player, but he's got to be a player in that squad. And if he's that sort of character, he's got to deliver on the pitch. You know, he's simply got to deliver on the pitch. So hopefully Johnson gives him that license to do that. And another thing he was saying as well, Johnson, in the post-match interview, he said, now this is quite alarming, really. He said he doesn't feel that the characters in the dressing room, there's enough characters.
Big personalities.
Parkinson, obviously, but just completely throwing McGee in the bin. McGee's such a big character, and he didn't like that, and he probably dampened everyone's character. And now Johnson's coming in and goes, where's all the characters? Where's all the characters? You know.
I think I was desperate to get in there. I think I didn't want to interrupt you. I think part of us thinks that maybe Parkinson's actually destroyed any characters we have. I don't really say Phil Parkinson's. I genuinely did rate him for quite a while, and I think even if he hasn't got quite the credit that he deserves, and there's a few things where I think he's not quite, as I say, not quite getting the credit he deserves. But I think his man management has it in any way almost kind of. I don't want to use the word destroyed. I did there, but it's undermined the big personalities, the likes of your McGee, your Powers, your Bailey Wrights, even Charlie White, who a lot of the lads on the Unfiltered podcast tend to say has got a big personality. Maybe Parkinson's kind of approach where he almost seemed a bit dogmatic to me. Well, he was very dogmatic, but he almost seemed a bit authoritative, where he didn't want he didn't want big personalities in the players, and that's why he didn't get on with mcgee. Maybe it's just going to take time and players to come out of the shell a bit more, and then maybe Lee Johnson's appreciation of bigger personalities might come through in the squad, and we might start saying that again.
Absolutely, because you watch Phil Parkinson speak, and he's very boring. Like I literally watch his press conference. Well, I tried to, and literally 30 seconds in, and I'm falling asleep. I'm like, what? These players are meant to listen to this. But Johnson, I don't know if you've seen, but they mic'd him up for put a mic on him for his Bristol City training, and he's such a good character. He was going around, and he's so lively, and he doesn't sort of stand there and go, he's in there, he's in the players' faces, and he wants.
Who's that meant to be like?
Phil Parkinson.
I don't know if he ever made those noises like, but.
Oh, you know what I mean. I just sort of see him just stand there with his arms folded, and he just sort of walks around.
Is it about Jack Ross as well? Like he
yeah,
a lot of enthusiasm. It's Simon Grayson. Like Chris Coleman was a big
not in players in their faces, and they're not doing that. That's what the managers weren't doing. And I think Johnson. I mean, I'm literally talking about Johnson, like how Aaron was describing Darren Moore, like a gift from God. But listen. Lee Johnson hasn't proved anything yet at Sunderland, but what I've seen of him so far, he's a lot better than every manager. Well, every manager we've had in this league, Jack Ross and Phil Parkinson so far. So hopefully
he's got a bit more personality. He seems to be a lot more forward thinking. The one thing that irritates us about both Jack Ross and Phil Parkinson is their lack of initiative, and their lack of, well, as I said, initiative and trying different things when things aren't working, which I guess is initiative in itself, but. Lee Johnson already, I was going to get on to his comments about the January transfer window you mentioned in the press conference there. He already seems to be figuring out what's went wrong at Sunderland this season and how can we make that better. And I didn't see that from Jack Ross or Phil Parkinson at any point really.
Yeah, and what did I mean? Everything that Phil Parkinson would have said. Oh, we were unlucky. We moved the ball well. We're doing this well. We're doing this well. Unlucky. Lee Johnson just literally said. That wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. And he says in January, he says the midfield is not enough pace. We need to bring some players in January to really help this team, get somewhere. And he's identified, and I think by taking the role yesterday and in being in the dugout, he's actually got to learn a lot of things about the team already. If he was sitting in the stands, I don't think he would have learned those things. He's been in that dressing room. He's heard them speak. He's identified some problems already in the first day, which is brilliant. And he already knows what he's going. Most of the things he already knows what he's going to do after the first day. So, hopefully he delivers. Hopefully the board backs him to be able to do.
That's crucial.
Because if he identifies these problems and then he's not backed to say, well, you can't get this player in, you can't get this player in. Then it's not it's not good enough by the board. But I think as long as they back him, I reckon we could go somewhere with him because he was at Bristol City for what, 4 years. When was the last time we had a manager for 4 years? I mean, Steve Bruce was only in the job
for about 2.5.
2.5. When was the last time we had a manager for 3? I mean,
I think maybe Roy Keane was the longest one before that. Or
Roy Keane was.
It was a
nearly all 3 seasons, like 2 and most of all, because Ricky Sprazier took over in the 3rd season for the last bit. I don't know, bit off topic now, but yeah, exactly. But
pretty much before our lifetime, we're actually now at age
exactly.
Where both of us were trying to go managers before Roy Keane. It's just the reason it's not no memory is because we weren't alive.
Lee Johnson, 39 years old, so he's a man. To show he's 39. Old and he's a manager and he's been at a club for 4 years, Bristol City for 4 years, shows that he's definitely maybe a long-term option because the older he gets, the
more experience
he can manage us in the Championship and Premier League.
I think with how long he's been at Bristol City already proves he's a good manager. You don't get a manager. Was it 4 or 6 years? He was like, you don't get a manager for that long if he's not good.
Yeah.
Especially like Bristol City, who are quite financially sound, got such a big fan base, and are quite ambitious.
Yeah, they love him. Honestly, I've seen some Bristol City fans talk about him, and they seem to really rate him. Obviously, he left last July, So,
but I think he didn't get sacked. He walked out.
Yeah, exactly. And fair play to him. I mean, I think he did a great job there. He took them from nearly getting relegated.
Themselves.
Yeah, nearly getting relegated to playing in the sort of maybe top half of the championship and being comfortable in the championship. And that's a good sign from a manager. And I think maybe with him you have to be a bit patient. I know we've said with Parkinson when he first came in, we've got to be patient with Parkinson, we've got to be patient. We kept losing games, and we're like, okay, we've got to be a bit more patient. But I think Parkinson was 52 years old, and Johnson's 39. And when you look back at what the Bolton fans were saying about Phil Parkinson, it's going, oh man, some of the worst football we've ever seen at Bolton. It's just do the minimal stuff and see if it works. But
I mean, I don't get too down about like how the quality of the football to me. As long as you're putting performances and winning, like I'm not too about like how entertaining the football is. I just want to win games at this level, especially if we're in the Premier League. Maybe we're slightly different, but right now I'm not. If we were to win 1-0 every game, up play awful hoofball football, like I wouldn't mind.
I agree with you.
Just go on.
But I don't care how we play, just as long as we win. We can focus on playing fancy football when we're in the Championship and the Premier League. But right now, we can honestly just cheat in games and win. I don't care.
Yeah. Just to move on ever so slightly, going forward, I did a video on this yesterday with Azza, and we were mentioning his signings. I mean, off the top of my head, he over his career, he signed the likes of Brownhill, Adam Webster, Mo Isa, Tammy Abraham. He brought in. I'm struggling to think of any more, but there was a long list of players that he's brought in over his career, and a lot of there's a Bristol City podcaster who went on the Roker Report or something along those lines who said that they think that Lee Johnson took the flack for the poor signings that the director of football took at Bristol City. That's obviously a model that we're going with now. And he mentioned about how we need more pace and creativity going forward, I think. To be honest with you, I genuinely think with how positive the two of them are looking, the director of football and new coach, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in a meeting right now discussing January. In January, if you could sign three players, not specific, but even just what position, like who do we go for? Because for me, I think creativity is what we need.
Absolutely, pace in midfield as well. I think January window is all about just like adding to what you have and just trying to make it a bit better. Obviously, the summer is more for restructuring and but we can't sort of restructure in January. And I think especially when we had Allardyce, and obviously it's a bit of a comparison with Johnson, but we had Allardyce. That January transfer window was like vital, really, because he brought in those players that he put into those positions, stuck with them, and we
were his players as well.
We had a settled team, and we were ripping through teams. We beat Man United, Chelsea, and Everton as well. We just look good. And I think if Johnson identifies these problems now, and as you said, it could be in a meeting now, identifying these players that they could bring in, not just bringing anyone in and hope they work, just bring this player in, chuck them in and hope they work because, they played well at this club. We've got to identify what we need. And if that player is, because one thing I've noticed, I don't know why it is, players come to Sunderland and their career just goes downhill.
Yeah, I know.
Like Willgreg, I mean, what's that all about? It goes downhill. And this is what you find, players just come to Sunderland, I don't know why it happens, and their just career goes downhill. So we've just got to be careful, who we get, and they've got to be the right people who knows what it takes to play for a big football club. Although there's no fans in at the moment, and I don't know when there will be, but we've just got to have the right players come in with the right mentality, because they could be good players but have the wrong mentality, and they could come in and just be dreadful. And I think that's one thing we've been doing. Like we signed Willgreg. Willgreg's got a great League One goal scoring record. This mentality.
He's got a stigma attitude, though.
Awful. Absolutely awful. When he first came in, he's going, oh, yeah, I'm going to get to 10 goals before the end of the season. I mean, he struggled to get to, 4?
I don't think he's got 10 now.
No, he hasn't even scored one league goal. He hasn't even scored a goal this season. So it's just the arrogance, and they have the arrogance and they just can't back it up. We've got to have the right characters play for Sunderland. Because that's what we've got to do in January. Players who want to play for this club, who are good enough. That's what we've got to do.
Yeah, it's exactly right. You've got to you can't just be signing players who've got the ability. You need to sign players who are willing to work with Johnson and carry out what it is he wants to do. Obviously, Willgreg played yesterday. One thing Tom White said when he was on the preview show, he was saying that this month is Willgreg's last chance.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or would you just bite the bullet and play someone else? Because to me, I'm as much as I'm Willgreg's biggest critic, I'm thinking, well, new manager, maybe a new formation. Why not give him one last chance for this month? And if he doesn't have the right attitude, which for me, I don't know if he does, then in January you look to offload him. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think we've just seen the way he sort of misses great opportunities. I think his attitude gets to him when he does that. When Lyndon Gooch that crossing for him, who was it against? I don't even know now. Was it? No.
This season.
Yeah, this season. He just missed that two yards out. Who was that? Who were playing?
Oh, MK Dons.
MK Dons, yeah. Right. He was 2 yards out, and he swung his foot at it. That's why he missed it, because he swung his foot backwards. Right. Just put your foot out. Let it hit your foot, and it will go in. And it's just that I'm here now, so I'm going to use my big personality, and I'm going to take my time and try. That's why he misses. He missed the open goal in his first ever home game against Blackpool. It's just too pedestrian.
He's easily defeated, I think, mentally.
Yeah, he is, and I don't understand him. And I honestly, if he's missing chances like that, whatever the manager does, if a player is missing from 2 yards out constantly, it gets to a point where they're unlucky, but then it gets to a point where they're rubbish. That's the point it gets to.
I think he's got a defeated mindset where things haven't worked out for my son, and I just think he thinks they never will. You can see it even when things aren't going his way in a certain game. One thing I always say, look what Charlie White does. He gets his head down and he runs and defends. He tries to win the ball back. He'll come out into the flank to try and pick the ball. He'll drop it into midfield. He'll go for every header. Willgreg just doesn't seem to have that. Things aren't going my way, I'm going to force them to attitude. He seems to have the way things aren't going my way, so that's just the way it is. Whereas he's got to fix that mindset.
And when he scores a goal, what does he do? He just sort of goes.
He doesn't look happy.
Doesn't look happy. One thing I want to say about Greg, when we played Oxford last season in the Carabao Cup game, I think it was the 5th round or something like that.
No, don't remind me of that night. Went all the way down to your ends.
I was in Spain. I was watching it in Spain.
I would have rather watched it.
At my ends, I don't live that close to Oxford. It's about
all the same, really. If it's south of Sheffield, it's London, basically.
Yeah, no. Well, watching that game, watching Willgreg walk up to take that penalty, you just see the look on his face, and he puts the ball down, and I'm just like, "What's this guy?" And he just blasts the ball over the bar, and from then I just thought, I think that's just his Sunderland career over if he's doing that, And his Sunderland career has never really kicked off, and I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, and as much as I would like to sit here and say that things haven't went his way and he's been a bit unlucky, to be honest with you, I think he's never done anything about that, and he's always just let himself be defeated.
It's his own fault. It's his own fault.
He doesn't have that attitude of, we need to make things work. It's things aren't going my way. That's rubbish. It's supposed to things aren't going my way. What can I do to make them better? Yeah,
exactly. It's just his own. It's his own fault. His own little ego. That's what's holding him back. I don't know. He comes onto the pitch and he's just, when he's trying to chase down a defender and he just can't do it. Then he's not even bothered the next time. He just sort of runs around, doesn't really do much. He just, I don't know, he just doesn't run and put that extra shift in, and it's his own fault. We've given him the support when we're in the stadium. We're cheering him on, and then it gets to a certain point. He's just at the start we were, and then he just sort of gets to a point where we're like, right, and then people, I think we booed him off at one point when he was getting substituted,
and as he should,
his own fault.
As Sunderland fans, from players all we expect is 100% effort. And if you put anything less than that in, expect us to boo you, because there's people who'd kill and die to wear that shirt and play on that pitch. And when we see players who not only have got the opportunity to do that, but are getting paid, you know, I'm not sure how much he's on, but you know, you would think almost tens of thousands, if not thousands, a week to play for the club. Then, and you can see that he's not even looking bothered, not even looking like he's trying. I mean, all we want to see out of you is 100% effort. And if you aren't good enough, that's not your fault. That's down to either the manager for selecting you, or the board for not giving the manager other players to pick from.
Yeah, well, I mean, Charlie Methvin and Stuart Donaldson, when they first came in, like they were literally like, "Oh, you know, the piss taking party stops now."
Stops now.
It stops now. And then, not being funny, they spend their whole budget and more on the player who's just taking the piss. So, it's ridiculous, and it just shows how unintelligent they are about football. They just signed someone who, you know, who scored quite a lot of goals. And to be fair, right, when Willgreg signed, right, I was so happy. I was so happy because I thought.
Do you know what? And I hate saying this bit because they never believe us, but I was genuinely like, I bet you this doesn't work out. I bet you we regret spending $4 million on him. And no one ever believes us when I say that. That's honestly how I felt at the time.
I mean, at that moment, I just thought, you know, we're in League One and there's not a lot to get excited about. And very rarely do we sign people where we, you know, in the Premier League, we sign people, we've heard them before, you know, we know their name and we sign them. It's so very exciting. So when we signed Willgreg, it was like we had that again. And that was exciting to hear that. But straight away, Willgreg came into Sunderland and he thought, well, I've got an opportunity here to maybe get this club in the Premier League. So here I go. And then it's just, I don't know, his ego's just got ahead of him, I think. And honestly, I don't really think he deserves to play for this club anymore. To be fair, I think the lack of effort, and I don't know, I don't really want him here anymore. To be fair, I don't think he can offer anything.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get onto it. What's essentially been about 10 minutes of just having a shout about Willgreg. But kind of like one final question, Willgreg. Do you think he deserves the chance to get it at least December under his belt, and we'll assess how he's doing going into January?
Does he deserve it? Put it this way.
It's a different question, deserve it, what we should do.
He's been put through on open goals, goals I would score, goals you would score, goals anyone would score, and he's missed them. He's very arrogant, and he can't back it up with scoring goals on the pitch. Lack of effort, doesn't even try. He's not even confident, doesn't even want to try, doesn't even, you know, I don't know. So for that reason, absolutely not. He does not deserve a chance. His Sunderland career is over as far as I'm concerned.
Interesting. Hey, I just, part of us thinks, you know, as much as I don't like the bloke, if he can score us 20 goals at the end of the season, then I would take that. And to me, with a new manager and a new system and what looks like an entire new direction at the club, it might be the right time. Anyway, we went on for far longer than I thought we would. Going into, we've got Oldham on Tuesday night. Not that I really want to talk about that game loads because we'll largely just play the under-23s. But going into Saturday, Lincoln, obviously I will be doing the Red and White preview show. Are you confident going into Lincoln?
Do you know what? I think Johnson might pull together a team. I think he's going to be doing some training sessions midweek, saying, you know, after the game he knows what he's going to do now. He thinks he knows, so he's going to do his best to pull the team together again. Am I confident going into it? I wouldn't say confident, but optimistic, a little bit. So I'm going to say, I think 3-2 to Sunderland.
3-2.
3-2.
Very high scoring game.
It is, yeah.
Hopefully Willgreg gets all three.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because then I can just clip that up and stick it out on Twitter and after the game and then get loads of retweets.
Yeah. I want him to do well. I was his biggest fan when he came in, but he's just really.
I want every player to do well. You like it. That's what you want the Sunderland fans.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've went on for long enough now. Thank you, Matthew, for coming on. I'll leave the link to the Fans React channel. Most people should know. Watching this video, you host or co-host the We Are Down South show on there. It's fairly similar to this type of thing. Talking about the match afterwards. Thanks to everyone for watching as well. Trying my best to hit 150 subscribers by the end of the year. It's a big ask, but I would love to get there. I've also made an Instagram page dedicated to the account just to stop with clogging up your private. So if you're on Instagram and you want to give that a follow, go ahead and do so. You can find the link from my channel. I'll leave it there from my Instagram. I'll leave it down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. As I've already said, please like the video, share it around if you would like. That certainly helps. And make sure to subscribe, and hopefully we'll get to 150. See you later.